Howdy do, y'all. Tables here. I note that I said that that the last video was my last SRS update, but I got to tinkering with some things, and because of what I did on my Reaper of Revenants build, i.e., getting my kind of block chance to be unconditional, I wanted to figure out a way to fit that into the SRS build, and we did it. Everything works fine. This is the character as it stands right now at level 96. I do plan to take this to 100 at some point during the league, probably sooner rather than later. But, you know, we'll just have to wait and see what happens, and, you know, kind of when I get time to get there and do all that hoo-ha and nonsense and stuff like that. So the way that I have this worked out is we're running a Red Nightmare. We're taking an extra small passive, and we're getting the Shield Mastery, which puts us at 73-25 with the 20% offering Mastery. Right? So we dipped on these 2 points, on these points, and we took a bit of a different path to pick up a more efficient spell block node, right? And that also means that we don't necessarily have to take Mystic Bulwark, but this is kind of worked out really well. And I kind of really like having Arcane Guarding. The 60% increased energy shield from Equipped Shield is super nice, and it does help out a ton because SRS is not exactly a cheap spell, and sometimes we have to spam it. It's just nice having that little bit of overhead, you know, on your ES, right? You know, if we really wanted to, I have it in the tree. You know, if you want more ES, you know, you're gonna come up and you're gonna take these points right here, and that's gonna this. I mean, you can honestly just do like maybe 1 or 2 and see how it feels. But you know, I purposely passed this way to go right next to this ES wheel, just in case that you get to a point where you feel like you might need some more recharge. Then by all means you can take it. The build, as it stands, you know, when we do finish out our level 100, we are sitting at 102 million DPS. So we're at 102 million DPS. And this is with charms. I know I said in my post on my YouTube that it was without charms, but I was talking about the block. But we're able to hit over 100 mil simply for the sake of simply because of the charms. We have a 30% increased effect, another 30% increased effect, and just an 8% increased effect of curses. This allows us to like drop a bunch of block nodes because you end up being like 34% like plus block, like extremely overcapped block. And I mean, another route is probably, you know, you could also just get rid of Mistress of Sacrifice, right? And then you could go into Plaguebringer. And then you wouldn't even have to run Bone Offering at that point. You could run the Crit Offering for even more damage. And that might be something that I test, but that's also very conditional to the league mechanic. So I opted to just keep the Ascendancy the way it was. So I have a bunch of different in-game trees here to kind of like help anyone out, you know, in case you want to do it a slightly different way. But the build, as it stands right now, extremely tanky. Just the basic with charms, we are taking some life recoup so that when our block does fail, you know, we're gonna recoup plus have 700 regen. You should go back up to full within a fairly reasonable amount of time. Pretty good total life, pretty good max life. Very happy with the way the in-game tree worked out. All this gear, highly achievable, very craftable. One of the more expensive things, Fortress Covenant. It's about 10 to 15 div right now. But it is probably the best jewel since we're not really using endurance charges anymore. Though for Uber bossing, I may swap out to, you know, a small kind of dual passive endurance charge and just drop these and spec into the endurance charge wheel, just for Uber bosses to cap out our PDR. Now, level 100, we're at 102 million. Guardian Pinnacle 69. Uber almost 21 million. This build is an Uber killer still. Footage was put up like 12 days ago, I think. Cortex and Eater of World is what I did. Trying to find one that is, I'm trying to find a jewel that is corrupted blood immunity with some decent stats. Because I'm not willing to do Uber bosses until I get corrupted blood immunity, or excuse me, Uber Cyrus. So until that point, where I'm not even gonna mess with it. But that's the build. These are the changes. We don't have Rumi's concoction anymore. Obviously, that's replaced with just a very typical granite flask, and I'm not completely sold on how these are rolled yet. I'm still kind of working through that process. Yeah. So no more Rumis. We're pretty much full block, unconditionally. Up 100% of the time because Missions of Sacrifice in our trigger wand. So yeah, very happy with the way this turned out. And I just wanted to update you guys on kind of how the in-game POB is looking. As far as mapping goes, I don't use Consecrated Effect. I use Infernal Legion. Infernal Legion plus Tavukai gives us like a less than 1.5 second pop. It's pretty quick. Could be quicker, but in order to do that, we need the unique shield that drops the fire res. And I'm not willing to give up this absolutely beautiful shield that makes us as tanky as we are. So that's what I do for mapping. I just drop a damage link. We still have more than enough damage for mapping. And when I do any kind of intentional bossing, I'll swap to Consecrated Effect. I believe there is a better damage link than Conc Effect, but because we're using Skin of the Lords, I needed something to replace one of my, and I need to go from blue to blue, right? So Conc Effect is probably our best one, at least in that regard. So that's it. I'm not saying that this is going to be the end all be all last update. I might tinker with it slightly, but I am done with this build. This build is peaked. I'm incredibly happy with where it's at. The whole build is just quite a pleasure to play, and it's league startable. That's the best part. So, yeah, if you guys have questions, hit me up in the comments, hit me up in Discord. I think I'm going to put this up on the forum and do like a hyper detailed guide for the forum, DOE forum, and maybe cross my fingers and maybe I get build of the week. Who knows? I can dream. With that said, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for sticking with me. And, we got Gauntlet coming up. I'm probably going to be live, be doing updates for that. So, yeah, y'all be good. Take care of yourselves.